Okay, so where we left off here, our building's coming along nicely. Why don't we tackle this thing right here, this kind of balcony thing? It looks fairly complicated, but honestly, I think with just a couple extrusions, it will be easy to pull off. So I'm going to go ahead and grab my block here, Control D to duplicate it, W, I'll move it forward, and let's go ahead and try to get it down in position near where it's going to go in the building. Just move it over here. Move it right there. And once again, I could be using these different viewports right here and just framing it up in all of them to make it easier. But my personal style is I like this big active viewport right here. Okay, so there it looks like it's somewhat in position. So how do you break down a task like this? Well, knowing what we know about modeling thus far, I usually like to start with a basic and overall shape. But with something like this where I'm going to need a bunch of extrusion points, I know I'm going to probably start right here at the top with just a long, narrow one. So I'm going to scale it, R to scale it down that way and that way. Maybe move it over just a little bit. Come up just a little bit, something like that. And I like to get down closer. And we can see we're far away from the building now, so I'll move it in towards it just a little bit. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with just this little row here at the top. So I'm going to scale it down even more before I do my first extrusion. And then I will go ahead and go into component selection mode, right click face, grab that face at the bottom, Control E to extrude, come down there. I'm going to constantly be looking at this reference here. So I want to come down a little bit and I want to shrink it. So first of all, I'm going to Control Z that and I'm going to actually scale down like that. And then I'm going to Control E again and extrude straight down. There we go. Okay, just like there. Okay, so now what are we going to do for all these separate parts? What we're going to need to do is subdivide this polygon down here. And we already know how to do that. If we just go up to Edit Mesh, we can add divisions here. Click this box. How many divisions do we want to add? Well, let's look. Let's count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like we need at least 6 divisions there. So why don't we go ahead, and it looks like it's already set up for 6, so we'll add those divisions. There we go. And what I'll do is I'll take these two right here, and I will Control E, and I will move them straight down. Okay, looking good. And then these up here, we're going to have to select all of these. So if I extrude these right here, Control E, and then I can use this little dialog box here to help me separate these all out. So I can change their thickness, bring it down a little bit, and then I can change their offset here so that I can kind of scale them individually. And that's what we want to do according to our reference over here. We want to kind of scale them up in the middle, scale them down a little bit, and go through. So we're going to try to kind of mimic that the best we can here. Why don't we go ahead and undo this, and we'll go back. And we'll just change the thickness. Sorry, we'll just change the offset from the get-go. And then we'll extrude again, change the thickness up, extrude again, change the thickness and the offset up to kind of get that middle part going on. Maybe 0.2 would be good. Let's try to put a 2 in there. Okay, just like that. Then we'll Control E, extrude again. Sorry, Control E, extrude again. Then Control E, change the offset just a tad bit. Change the offset back down. Control E. And we'll just continue to do this, Control E, until we have a similar pattern to what we had in our reference. Now, I'm not going to try to get it perfect, and I don't care if it completely matches the reference. All I'm going for is an approximation, because at the end of the day, your modeling needs to look a little bit different than theirs anyway to give it a bit of personality. And maybe you'll come up with something that looks better than theirs anyway. So don't worry about getting it perfect. You're never going to get it perfect, and that's quite all right. Okay, so once again, not as cool as what they had here, but it gives it a lot of texture, and it makes it look like a more complicated and complex model, and that's our main goal. We're not trying to make it perfect, okay? So I'll go back to Q tool, selection tool, and what I want to do now is I just want to select one of these, and I'm going to extrude it, Control E, move it down, and then I'm going to select this polygon right here, this face, using the Q tool, and then extrude that over here, just like that, okay? And try to get it just perfect there. All right, so now we have completed this little statue thing, and it looks okay, and that's all I want, is for it to look pretty decent. It looks like they extend it down a little bit, so maybe we'll try to do that real quick. Why don't we take this and actually move it back a little bit, and then we will take this polygon and extrude it down like that, or better yet, yeah, extrude it right down to there. Try to get it really close, and then we'll take both of these and extrude them down like so. Maybe we'll do a bevel on the end here. Edit mesh, bevel. There we go, perfect. I like that. Okay, I think we're done with that. I'll hit Q, go back to object mode, and we'll duplicate this, Control D, and then move it over to that side. Perfect. Okay, so as you can see, there are levels of detail that I'm not going to spend the time to get it perfect 100%, because at the end of the day, my goal isn't to build a building here, it's to make an asset for my video game. So I want to concentrate all my time on the video game and on programming the video game out, and I want to get just enough detail to make it work. If I wasn't trying to build a game with this, and I was trying to make a fine model, and I was trying to render out a perfect image, then yeah, I would go and spend the time to make this thing as perfect as possible. But I would also not be using such a crappy reference photo. I'd try to get one that had a straight on and a profile so I could model it perfectly. And I just snapped this off the internet. It's a little JPEG, and it's got a bad angle to it, which makes it more complicated to perfect it. It's merely a reference so I can build my own building in the form of that one. And I can't stress this enough. Don't waste too much time trying to perfect it. Try to get something done. Try to finish things. Don't waste all your time on the minutia, because there's a lot more models we're going to have to create for our video game. So don't spend too much time on any one model, okay? So I'll see you in the next video.